Welcome to Labo USA. This is Question Mark. In this video I'd like to go through the fill procedure with the PRESTO unit, and in this application we actually have it attached to a glass reactor. So one of the benefits of a PRESTO system is that you can control and monitor the pressure. If you have an application that's metal or doesn't have a pressure requirement, you won't have to worry about the pressure settings, but in the video you'll see how you can view and adjust those as well. Okay, so after you have your application tubing connected properly, simply turn on the unit. Okay. The unit will give you an E01 alarm because it has no fluid in it. So to silence the audible alarm, simply push anywhere in the red box, and then you'll notice that it has a question mark. So if we press the question mark, it will take us into the fill unit screen. So let's select fill unit. Now the display shows a liquid level graph here on the left. And so what we'll do then is open up the fluid port and add your appropriate fluid. Please use your Labo recommended fluids. So what we want to do is add enough fluid into the system now until we see the liquid level turn green. So depending on the model of your PRESTO, the internal fill volume will vary. So check your data sheet or your operating manual for the amount of minimal internal fluid that is necessary. Okay, now it's green. So if we hit OK, we still go back to the main screen. You're still showing this E01 error. So the only way to erase an E01 low liquid level error is to actually turn the unit off, wait at least 5 seconds, turn it back on. Okay, since there is fluid registering here on the liquid level and it's green, we don't have that alarm anymore. So now we want to go into the menu, install unit, fill unit. Then it's going to ask, what is the distance between the PRESTO and your application? So this is subjective, so we have a small distance here because we only have 1 meter tubing. If you had maybe like 3 meter tubing, it could be medium distance. Anything longer than that, you would select large distance. All right, but before we start the fill procedure, I would like to get more fluid in here because I know that I have an external fluid volume over in the reactor. And you can see that the pump is starting. Some fluid started to appear in the bottom, and we want to keep adding the fluid so that we keep the level green. Alright, so I have this whole container in here now, and what you'll notice on the screen is that it shows the pressure and the pump stage. So you can vary the pump stage from 1, which is the slowest, up to 4, which is the fastest. And it will stop and start the pump operation, and what this does then is it enables the automatic degas. So it will automatically get all of the air out of the system during the fill procedure. So you can see it's starting the pump now. There's some fluid starting to come into the reactor jacket. So what we want to do is gauge the liquid level volume inside the PRESTO as we keep an eye on how much fluid is going into the external application, and add more fluid to the PRESTO as appropriate as the pump is going. But you can see that we aren't even coming anywhere near 1 psi on this pressure reading here right now. This glass reactor has a jacket pressure max of around 8 psi, so we could probably expedite the fill procedure by increasing the pump stage. So if I click on pump stage on the screen, go to stage 2, it will go to a faster pump speed, which will then expedite the fill procedure, and we still will be under the pressure limit of the reactor jacket. So if you have an application that is not clear, like glass. I mean, we have the benefit of being able to see actually where the external fluid volume is in the application. If you don't have something that's visible, you'll just have to monitor the fluid level on the screen here to see when it actually equilibrates and doesn't drop anymore. Okay, once the fill procedure has gone to the point where you can see the fluid getting to the top, just as long as it's going all the way out and eliminating the air in the return line, it should be good. You might get a little more air bubbles coming out. As you can see, it's coming in here, still doing its thing. You could let it cycle through a few times just to ensure that all the degassing has taken place inside the unit. Since the Presto has a very broad temperature range, one of the things you'll want to do ahead of time is figure out the total fluid volume in your application and the desired temperature that you are going to. Right? So if you're working solely from room temperature to high temperature applications, you might want to have the fill volume at room temperature at a very low level so that you maximize the internal expansion capability inside the system. Conversely, if you're going subambient, you might want to have the system filled pretty full at room temp so that when the fluid contracts as you go cold, like on the W80, you can go down to minus 80 degrees C. Then there's enough fluid left to accommodate that fluid constriction. If you're doing a combination of both hot and cold, you might want to shoot for somewhere in the middle, and then just keep an eye on your fluid volume as the temperatures change with your filling volume level indicator. And you can see here on stage 1, with the jacket filled, we're only at about 2.3 psi. And keep in mind that the sensor is right before the fluid outlet on the connection on the back of the Presto. So if you have a long run of tubing, you're going to have a big pressure drop by the time it does get to the application. Once you're satisfied that the level is to a good position in your external application, you're not seeing any more air bubbles coming out, or if you don't have a clear application and your fluid level has stabilized, then go ahead and hit OK in the fill mode, go back to the home screen, and then you're ready to operate your Presto system. Thank you for watching, and please contact us directly if you have any questions.